Have you ever felt stuck when speaking in public, going to an interview, or even just introducing yourself to someone new? Your mouth goes dry, your hands start to sweat, and your mind goes completely blank, despite all the preparation you've done. If so, you're not alone. Thousands of people experience this every single day, even those who now seem confident and self-assured. What many don't realize is that self-confidence isn't some rare gift only a few lucky people are born with. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and strengthened over time. You might think that some people were just born with that ease, that natural spark that lights up a room. But the truth is, behind the scenes, even the most charismatic individuals have dealt with doubt, insecurity, and fear. The difference lies in how they've learned to respond to those internal thoughts, and that's where cognitive psychology has so much to offer. In this video, you'll discover practical techniques, backed by serious research, that can reshape how you see yourself and behave in key moments. The goal here isn't to promise quick fixes. What you'll find are real tools, ones you can actually apply to your daily life, helping you build self-confidence from the inside out. We'll walk through 3 powerful cognitive techniques, and most importantly, you'll see how to use them in real-life situations, like interviews, presentations, or tough conversations. Because true confidence doesn't come from applause, it begins when you truly believe in what's already within you. If you've ever felt like you could have gone further, but froze, or if you're afraid to show your true self because of self-doubt, this video is for you. Because self-confidence isn't about pretending to be strong. It's about giving yourself permission to grow, even when you still feel vulnerable. And that journey starts right now. Now that you understand confidence can be built, it's time to dive into the root of that process, how we think. Cognitive psychology shows that our sense of ability begins with how we interpret the world, and more importantly, how we interpret ourselves. It's not the event itself that knocks us down, but the automatic thoughts that follow. That inner voice saying, "You're going to mess up again, you can't handle this, everyone's judging you." These self-sabotaging thoughts, when repeated over time, shape our actions, or our paralysis. The good news is that thoughts aren't absolute truths. They're interpretations, often distorted, shaped by experiences, criticism, comparisons, and fear. And just as they were learned, they can be unlearned. This is where the transformative power of cognitive techniques comes in. They don't deny fear, they teach you how to talk to it. When you shift how you think about yourself, you shift how you act. And over time, you start experiencing small wins that reinforce a new self-image. Picture a mental mirror. If it's fogged up, the image you see is unclear. But as you start wiping it clean, your true features come into focus. Confidence begins when we can see that image more clearly, not exaggerating strengths or hiding flaws, but honestly recognizing who we are and what we're capable of becoming. That's where cognitive techniques truly shine. They act like tools to adjust that inner mirror. And now that you understand the foundation of confidence as a mental process, we can start exploring these tools one by one. The first one might just be the most powerful, and it's available to anyone who's willing to pay closer attention to their own thoughts. If thoughts shape our actions, then the first step towards stronger self-confidence is to pay attention to what's running through your mind in moments of stress. This technique, called cognitive restructuring, is a core principle of behavioral psychology. It involves identifying negative automatic thoughts and replacing them with versions that are more realistic, helpful, and balanced. It's not about repeating empty motivational quotes, it's about creating an internal narrative grounded in truth and possibility. Here's an example. You're about to give a presentation and the thought pops up, "I'm going to stutter and embarrass myself." If left unchallenged, this thought can trigger anxiety, muscle tension, and even a complete mental block. But what if you reframed it to, "I'm prepared, and if I stumble, I can pause and keep going"? Notice the difference. One shuts you down. The other opens a path. Cognitive restructuring follows 3 simple steps. Recognize the automatic thought. Notice when a negative belief about yourself appears. Challenge that thought. Ask, is this 100% true? What's the real evidence? Replace it with a realistic alternative. Something you can truly believe, yet still empowers you. Think of yourself as a mental detective. Every time a thought discourages you, investigate it. Where did this idea come from? Who told you couldn't do it? What would be a fairer way to look at yourself? Over time, this habit reshapes what's known as your inner dialogue. And it's in that dialogue where self-confidence is built. You can keep listening to the voice that says, "You're not good enough," or you can train your brain to say, "This is hard, but I can try." This kind of shift doesn't happen overnight. But each restructured thought is like a brick in the foundation of your self-assurance. Start small, pick one self-sabotaging thought today and rewrite it. That one action could be the start of a new way of showing up, not just for the world, but for yourself. Once you've learned to reframe those negative thoughts, it's time to prepare your mind to act with greater confidence. And one of the most effective ways to do that is through positive mental rehearsal. This technique is widely used by high-performance athletes, musicians, leaders, and even surgeons. The idea is simple: the brain responds to mental imagery almost the same way it does to real-life experiences. In other words, picturing yourself succeeding can activate the same neural circuits as actually succeeding. Let's imagine a situation. Tomorrow, you've got an important interview. Instead of spending all your time feeding the anxiety, close your eyes for a few minutes and visualize the setting, the details in the room, the sound of your steady voice responding clearly, the focused expression on the interviewer's face. The more detailed your mental rehearsal, the more effective it will be. This kind of visualization builds familiarity with the desired scenario, reducing fear of the unknown. When your brain recognizes a situation as something it has already experienced, it tends to respond more calmly. And the best part? Mental rehearsal increases your sense of control, and control builds confidence. Here's how to get started. Choose a situation where you'd like to feel more confident. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. Visualize the situation from start to finish, focusing on positive outcomes. Repeat this practice daily for a few minutes. This technique becomes especially powerful when combined with cognitive restructuring. First, you replace a negative thought. Then, you mentally rehearse acting with confidence in that same situation. It's like rehearsing a play before opening night. When the moment comes, both your body and mind already know what to do. Mental rehearsal doesn't replace real practice, but it gets your mind ready for it. It reduces anxiety, improves focus, and boosts performance. Confidence grows when your mind believes you've already been through it and succeeded. And now that you've learned how to think better and visualize yourself with confidence, it's time to take action. One step at a time. Once you've learned to think clearly and visualize yourself with confidence, it's time to bring that into the real world. But take it easy, you don't have to face your biggest fear right away. The key here is gradual exposure. This technique involves slowly and intentionally exposing yourself to situations that make you uncomfortable, in a controlled, progressive way. And after each step, you mentally reinforce the achievement. That's how your brain learns that there's no real danger, and begins to relax. Think of a staircase. Climbing 2 steps at a time might seem faster, but it also increases your chances of stumbling. Climbing 1 step at a time, with balance, gets you further, and with more stability. That's how gradual exposure works. Start with smaller challenges, and build up as your confidence grows. For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, you don't need to start with a big speech. You can begin by asking a question during a meeting, sharing an idea with a small group, or even recording a voice message on WhatsApp to practice what you'd say. Every small act is a win, and it deserves recognition. That's where the second part of the technique comes in: cognitive reward. Every time you face a fear, even a small one, mentally acknowledge your effort. Tell yourself, "I did it. This matters. I'm making progress." That internal validation activates a reward circuit in the brain, releasing dopamine, the chemical behind motivation and pleasure. As a result, your brain starts to associate the action with something positive, and the fear loses power. You can even write down your wins in a journal or an app. Seeing your concrete progress reinforces your confidence even more. It doesn't matter if the step was small, what matters is that you took it. Confidence doesn't come from a sudden breakthrough. It's built through repeated experiences where you prove to yourself that you're capable. And when you combine this technique with the others, you create a cycle: clear thinking, positive imagery, and strategic action. Now that you know all 3 cognitive techniques, thought restructuring, mental rehearsal, and gradual exposure with reinforcement, you might be asking yourself, how do I actually use this in real life, when anxiety really hits? The answer lies in the smart combination of these strategies, tailored to your everyday situations. Let's see how that works in practice. Imagine you have a job interview coming up. A few days before, those sabotaging thoughts start creeping in. I'm not good enough, they'll see how nervous I am. That's where cognitive restructuring kicks in. You catch those thoughts and replace them with fairer ones like, I'm prepared, and I can show my best self. With that new foundation, you move to mental rehearsal. You picture the moment, your posture, your confident voice, the welcoming atmosphere. And finally, you use gradual exposure on the day of the interview. Arrive early, take a few deep breaths, chat casually with someone on the way in, and mentally place yourself in the position of someone who has already rehearsed for this moment. The same process works for public speaking. Instead of jumping straight onto the stage in fear, start small, practice in front of a mirror, record yourself on video, then present to a couple of friends, before finally facing a full audience. Each step tells your brain, I can do this, and that changes everything. And what about in social situations? Start by talking to strangers in low-stakes environments. Say, good morning, in the elevator. Ask someone a question in line. Give a genuine compliment. These small actions are powerful tests of self-confidence, and their effect adds up. More than isolated techniques, the real secret is integration. Each tool strengthens the others. You think better, you see yourself better, you act better. And before you know it, what once felt scary becomes familiar. And it's exactly from that sense of familiarity that true confidence is born, from practice, real exposure, and the daily choice to believe in yourself. There's just one step left to complete this journey. You've just learned that self-confidence isn't about luck or a gift given to a lucky few. It's something you build, mentally, practically, and emotionally. Together, we've seen how reshaping thoughts, mentally rehearsing success, and gradually facing fears can transform not just how you feel, but how you show up in life. True strength comes when you stop waiting to feel ready, and decide to act even when you're scared. Because fear might walk beside you, but it no longer has to lead the way. Now, I've got an invitation for you. Choose one of the 3 techniques we explored today, and apply it within the next 24 hours. Write down a thought you want to reframe. Or visualize a moment where you want to shine. Or take a small step outside your comfort zone. What matters isn't the size of the action, it's the decision to begin. And if this video helped you in any way, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. Drop a comment telling us which technique you're going to try first. And remember, confidence grows when you move, even if you're still shaking.